I recently came across this video where an atheist student actually changes his mind due to the apologist's answer. I've literally never seen this before, ever in my life. Let me show you.
Hello, I'm Nathaniel.
Nathaniel.
No, so you make three specific arguments for the existence of God. A creative argument, an argument for design, and an argument for morality. I first off would like to try and take down the argument on morality.
Go ahead.
Because it's not actually an argument for the existence of a God, it's the argument for the fact that we should have an idea of an existence of a God, because otherwise there would be no moral basis from which we could sit on. And I disagree with that because I feel that humans are inherently altruistic and moral.
Okay, all right, stop there for just a second, Nathaniel. What do you mean by altruistic and moral?
We are giving and we care about each other.
Why is that good?
Why is that good? Because it helps our species survive.
Why is it good to survive?
Because then we can propagate and move on as a species and continue to exist.
So why is that a good thing? Who said?
Why is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Because that is what it is.
Well, that's an is. That's not an ought, though. Stalin would say, fine, Nathaniel, I'm going to survive by killing you and taking your stuff. Why is he wrong?
Hey, sorry, we'll get back to the video really shortly, but real quick, if you care about truth, whether it's what does the Bible really say about homosexuality or alcohol or whatever, all the way to can we actually know God just by looking at the universe, I want to encourage you to press subscribe. We're going to be coming out with more videos just like the one you're watching right now every single week, and we're diving deep to actually discover what is true. Press subscribe. Love you guys. Bye.
Because Stalin would have the initial urge not to. He would feel that the inherent urge of humans is to be caring for one another. There are situations where humans will not be caring about one another, and those are exceptional. But because humans are inherently altruistic, his first urge would be to take care of the person or try and help them. But if he has some motivation against that, then he would no longer have that urge. And he would decide that he wants to kill them because he has a reason to.
Well, again, I think you're begging the question as to what altruism is. Why is taking care of others a good thing if there is no God? That's your opinion. Is there an external referent, an authoritative, unchanging referent that you're getting that opinion from, which makes it objective, or is it just something you feel?
Humans, so if you take it from the stance that this is something that is consistent throughout humanity, that we care about one another, then we could superpose that as a moral impulse that we have.
Okay, let me agree with you. I think we do have a moral impulse. And that's exactly what C.S. Lewis said in The Abolition of Man, when he looked at all the diverse cultures and he said, they agree on basic morality. Now, how do you explain that basic morality? Well, there's maybe different ways to explain it, but some will say that's because God has written it on our hearts. But the issue isn't how we know it. The issue is, why is altruism, as you put it, or caring for one another a good thing? Who said?
It's not necessarily who said, it is what is. We are altruistic. There is no need for someone to say that it is a good thing. It is what we are.
This is interesting because I think it shows embedded in this current generation in the world, they assume, there's an automatic assumption that we are just inherently good. Every single person is inherently good. Our baseline is good, which directly flies in the face of what the scripture plainly says. And if we're being honest, what the evidence shows, ask any police officer, ask any lawyer, person who deals with the public like this, that the baseline is actually evil, if not evil, selfishness at the very least. Let's keep going.
But if Hitler or Stalin comes along and says, I don't want to be altruistic, I want to be selfish and take everything for myself, and if I have to kill you to do that, I'm going to do that, why is that objectively wrong?
Because he is not taking care of other people.
Who said it's Where are you getting this standard this objective standard that you ought to take care of people? Where does that come from if there's no God?
So I'm just going to talk about a little example that I know of and some others. So there's 3 different points I'd like to make. First off, we still exist. If we did not take care of each other as a social species, we would have very, very limited capabilities of still existing. We need to band together. We need to take care of each other. We need to be friendly to one another.
That's presupposing that survival is a good thing. Why is it a good thing? And why us surviving? Why not roaches or antelope or black widow spiders?
Why do you need the concept of good there? We're still surviving, and we're being nice, kind to each other. We are being caring for one another.
Forgive me, Nathaniel, but you're stealing the standard of goodness from God's universe to try and make your worldview work. But if there is no objective, authoritative moral standard beyond us, then atheism doesn't work.
You know, I think you're right.
What's going on here is oftentimes atheist, agnostic, or whatever you want to qualify yourself as, materialist, they want to disprove God. They want to say God's not real, all this sort of stuff. And they actually want to use words, themes, what Dr. Frank is saying. You import words and themes from a creator. There's another video by Cosmic Skeptic I could have used where Dr. Frank and Cosmic Skeptic sit down. And those who actually have thought through the moral argument and they've gone all the way, they realize there is no other alternative but to say, yeah, there is no objective good. So, for instance, Hitler, Stalin, all that sort of stuff, those aren't objectively wrong. Even 9/11, terrorists killing people, it's not objectively wrong. It's just what we think is wrong. In their mind, it's right. There is no wrong or right. And for the average person, I think for the person who's not given to, I would call delusion, something deep within us says that's just not true. Why, as C.S. Lewis said, what Dr. Frank said, C.S. Lewis said, why then does every culture generally look the same, generally kind of feel the same way about good and wrong? It's because there is something written internally in our hearts about good and evil. And this is what Romans talks about in the 1st and 2nd chapter, is that God has written the laws on our hearts. Super interesting. I applaud the young man for changing his views and everything. And listen, we're going to be doing some more of these videos. If you're like, why are we doing some of these videos on this? If you've been following this channel for a little while, I want to share with you. I went through a season, and I'm going to do a video when I can do it the right way and the long way and all that stuff. When I went through a season where I was actually really deconstructing my faith. I was not convinced any longer of the biblical arguments, of the arguments for God, and I was really struggling. I was a pastor, I was on staff, all this stuff, and I was like about to walk away from the Lord. And the Lord, in His grace, led me to things like this because I had real questions. I wasn't angry at the Lord. I just had questions, and I wasn't finding them in my local congregation. But I found stuff like this, and it really helped me. And I just began to feel the Lord actually just prompt me to put some more stuff like this out, because I feel like there's an epidemic of people, specifically my age, late 20s to mid 30s, who are wrestling with their faith, and they just think there's no good answers out there. And there's plenty of content where we can wrestle through questions, hard questions, and actually get answers that will suffice. Because God, is He unknowable? Yes, but that does not mean that we don't search, and that doesn't mean we can't see fragments of His nature, even in creation, even in philosophy. So I love you guys. Peace. Subscribe, like, share. If you know somebody who would benefit from this, send it to them. See you next time. Bye.